All right, so here, so I'm in the middle of some Christian study stuff right now. I take I take time sometimes to understand different religions and stuff. Um, I mean, I might as well come out with my religious identification and stuff. I've officially been a Christian for about 4 years now, and I've read the Bible a few times. Um, First time I read it, I was 19 years old. But there's a lot of complications between me and my home life and family that prevented me from pursuing, um, you know, how I wanted to pursue religion and stuff. And but yeah, anyway, so that's a tangent. Um, this video is actually about control and stuff. The controlling tendency people have. There's a deep, deep problem with human psychology. Um, you have authoritarian parents, but then you just also have authoritarian people that personally want others to do as they say when they say it and stuff. And this is fundamentally flawed for two reasons I can think of right now. One, that timing is not subjective and stuff. A person's feel of time and stuff is not the same as how a clock works, or how you know um or how uh, or how other timing mechanisms work. Those timing mechanisms are absolutes because they're instruments and stuff. They are independent of personal perception of subjectivity. They're just of a higher quality. You get a better, consistent result and stuff. They're just better, and they work better. This is proven in economics and in technology and in practical philosophy and stuff. It's just demonstrated over and over. Um, the the no sense of subjectivity or some subjective truth claim and stuff is really going to win in a scientific circumstance anyway. So it should not be like so it should not be considered as a way to um, a way to be really. And additionally, with these personally controlling people, is that the fundamental flaw they have is that they don't understand that there's a difference between how circumstance compels a person to talk and act, and how that person, who's trying to take control, wants to do that and stuff. Um, I've met people from all walks of life um, that feel like they have a serious problem with somebody because that person doesn't do what they say as they say and stuff. And you know, it 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 comes down to it, like it really goes into it and stuff. Society has a problem with trying to control people like they were dogs or something. Um, and I I don't know how further. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how else I can iterate how important it is for people to not be controlling to others and stuff. Sometimes things are the way they are, and it's for the better that the person just thinks about the the welfare of the person that they're trying to be controlling with, and just let it go and stuff. Additionally, there's a question of qualifications and stuff. What qualifies a person to be controlling, really? Um, is some does a person who's like that has a person is it controlling does a controlling person really think about that? I don't think so and stuff. There's some people they learn how to be managers and stuff. They have a good managerial skill, but then you also have like leadership, and then you also have um, coaching and stuff. Then you also have parenting and stuff. There's different occupational areas that each gives some part of the picture and stuff. But a person still has to drive themselves. And sometimes that can be a lot. Um, I don't think, yeah, I don't think being personally controlling where it's not absolutely necessary is is really is really a value and stuff. Um, in general and stuff, there's certain relationships where control is loved and accepted, wanted and stuff, because the person being led genuinely can't think for themselves, or they're scared, or one reason or another. Meaning, like, they're scared of what might happen to them if they're alone or whatever. Um, and but yeah, people, humans, people, they have they really do have a problem with being controlling. Um, that should conclude that lesson.